Welcome, everyone. This is Pine Leaf Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO, and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Andang,
Hey, everybody.
Atheros,
Hey, hey, hey.
Draculita,
Greetings, everyone.
Sithrith,
Hello.
Rexwolf.
Hello, Lotro.
And please welcome our guest for this week, Sarah, who provided us some support through Patreon.
Cheers, guys.
And thank you for supporting us, and thank you for coming to the show tonight.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Now, since you are a guest tonight, we will begin the show by asking you, what got you started in LOTRO?
I've always been really excited about Tolkien, and I was really excited about Desolation of Smaug coming out last year, and a friend of mine told me that LOTRO existed, and I was really upset that I hadn't found out about it 7 years ago when it started. And I really got sucked into it, and here I am, still super into it a year later, almost a cap with the second character, so yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to
All
ask
right.
you the tough question, though. How'd you find Lotro players?
I was really such a noob when I started out, and I had nobody helping me out. So I just went on Google and I found you guys, and you were like the only resource I had for about 6 months until I switched servers and found a kin and really got settled into the community. So you guys really boosted me for like the first 6 months. I don't think I would still be playing Lotro if it wasn't for Lotro players.
Wow, thank you.
Yay for us.
We've got a fan! All right. Is there anything you want to tell us about your playing experience that you'd like to share with our audience?
Wardens are by far the best class.
Well, I'd have a lot of trouble arguing with that.
You're just getting on Pine Leaf's good side.
Yes.
Yep.
Milk it for tips. I play on Laurelin, and I love the role playing community there, both like race specific and just all across the board. And I really enjoy raiding and instancing, and I'm a bit sad that I kind of missed the heyday of that because I really enjoy doing it. And this is a complaint from players all across the board that Turbine should probably look at giving us some more traditional endgame content. But otherwise, I love the community mostly. I think that's one of the greatest things about LOTRO. So, yeah.
Well, if you're on Laurelin, it probably means that's one of those servers that's often chosen for its community.
Yeah.
Yes. So therefore, what level is? I guess what race is your warden?
I'm an elf.
Yeah.
I actually moved to Laurelin for a Dwarven roleplay, but I sort of ended up doing Elven roleplay, and all of my characters are now into that. So yeah, it's really weird how things work out.
All right then.
Is
Yes.
Laurelin famous for its dwarven roleplay?
I don't know if it's famous for it, but that's just the kins that I found that were like, Dwarven only and stuff like that. So yeah, I was just really drawn to that.
It's right there on the login screen, Brax. World famous for Dwarven roleplay.
I thought maybe it was the recommended server for
everything's
dwarven
a
roleplay.
crystal, and you just right there, man.
Yeah. All that time I've had a character on Laurelin and never knew about Dwarven roleplay.
You've been missing out, Pine Leaf.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go into game news, and we'll begin with some rather sad news, and that is that LOTRO music is to remain in-house. In other words, do not expect any more LOTRO compositions by Chance Thomas. Sithrith, you're the one who reported about this sad news.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Chance Thomas posted on his Facebook page saying that after some discussions with the new management on the LOTRO team at Turbine, they came to the unfortunate conclusion that they would not be hiring Chance Thomas anytime in the foreseeable future. And that's unfortunate because I know all of us here love Chance Thomas's music contributions to the game, and it's obvious from his Facebook post that Chance Thomas was also very interested in creating music for LOTRO. He said that he only wished that he could have done more with Osgiliath and Minas Tirith and the Black Gates. So it's really unfortunate. A lot of people are pretty upset about it, which I totally understand. Like I said, I also thought his music was really great and was a really good fit for LOTRO, and it's unfortunate that we won't see his music in game.
I have a feeling
Continuing on.
that I wouldn't have expected much from him until they have another expansion, and we already know that Osgiliath and Minas Tirith are probably not going to be expansions, so I don't know about Minas Tirith yet, but
Yeah,
I
but at the
like Chance
same
Thomas too, but I always feel sorry for the in-house guys whenever this kind of announcement comes out because this is their
Yeah.
livelihood too. I mean, they're
Yeah.
trying to do a
Yeah.
good job too.
Yeah, but at the same time,
mean-
I really feel sorry for Chance Thomas because he is the one who contacted us about the petition when it was getting started. He actually was one of the key members in helping get that started, and so he clearly really wanted to do the soundtrack for LOTRO, for Gondor and Mordor, and it's really sad that that's not going to happen. But at the same time, based on recent events and their plan for the future, it's not that surprising.
You know what? I have a feeling that Turbine thought that they were going to get him back too, because otherwise they're a pretty secretive company about stuff that's not been formalized yet. And I remember, I think it was even before Sapiens left, they said something in a live stream chat about having talks with Chance Thomas, and that surprised me that that they had even said anything without having it, in stone. So they must have thought that they were pretty close to getting him back at one point.
Yeah, and yeah, it definitely did seem that way. And Chance Thomas was talked about how he was talking with the management at various stages as well. So from both sides, we were notified that there was, some kind of conversation going on there.
This was before the layoffs, right? The most
Yeah.
recent round of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
And
I
I mean,
imagine is what ended any possibility, if there was one.
possibly.
If it
Um,
could just generally be sources away from LOTRO, though, I guess that kind of makes sense and fits into the overall vision.
yeah.
all right. Now, if you are really liking the first two Hobbit movies, though, you have an opportunity
There's a bit of an
to
echo.
win the first two Hobbit movies. And Sithrith, what is this all about?
Can't win them all, Pine Leaf. You can't win them all.
That
That
was
was the craziest
not
transition.
very. That was not one of your better transitions, Pine Leaf. But anyway, yes, if you like Hobbit movies, like you like soundtracks, LOTRO is giving away. LOTRO is giving away. I can't. LOTRO is giving away a copy of The Hobbit, the Battle, or An Unexpected Journey, and The Hobbit: Desolation of Smaug Blu-ray/DVD copies, as well as 1,000 Turbine points to people who enter this new sweepstakes they have going. You have to be 13 or older, and you have to be a U.S. or Canadian resident, except for Quebec. They don't count, apparently. So,
They're not real Canadian.
They do have different
Sorry,
legal
I'm
rules there.
yeah, like a lot of these kind of sweepstakes, every province and state and country have very, very different rules, and so it's hard for some time for them to get legal rights to have sweepstakes in other
I have
countries.
to
I know one of the
get-
comments.
Probably with Quebec, they said they can't do it unless they also provide a French translation.
Yeah, that's usually what the problem with Quebec stuff is. I know one of the comments on this article was saying that Turbine doesn't care about people in other countries, but the reality is not that they don't know that other countries exist or that they hate people in other countries. It's just that since every country has very different laws about lotteries, sweepstakes, giveaways, contests, it's very hard to set up a contest to meet every country's requirements. And
It would be nice
also,
though.
for such a
think-
small giveaway.
Yeah.
it's not going to be worth their time to
It
set it up.
it would be nice though if they alternated which countries they focused on for giveaways though. So
That's true.
yeah.
I mean, like, even if you just use Europe, it's still complicated because I believe like each country itself has its own individual laws about this. I think it was France that has one where someone in France needs to win one of
Yes,
the
there is
things
a
yeah,
in
rule
order
on
that's
for it
that.
to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's really awkward. As someone who is in the EU, I've missed out on like at least half of these contests. But you know, I understand that they can't do this stuff with all the legal issues, and it's not really that
Right.
big a contest, so I'm not too bothered.
And if it involves shipping, then very often overseas
Oh yeah,
places
it
are a
could
lot
be
more
real
expensive.
expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah, it could be
it'd be more
not
expensive
worth
than
it
the
at all.
product.
Exactly. Exactly.
Lawyers aren't cheap.
That too.
All
But yeah,
right.
so if you are in the US or Canada, you might win stuff. Yay.
Then you might have a chance to win stuff. Now let's go on to the great MMO face-off. Draculetta, who are we facing this time around?
Well, the folks over at MMROPG just has a little contest going on. They're pitting a bunch of MMORPGs against each other to see who wins, basically. And Lord of the Rings was up against Aeon in the first round of voting, and I just checked before the show to see because that the first round did end, and Lord of the Rings did win 62.2% to 37.8%. So that means that LOTRO is going to move on to round two. Won't know who they face until early next week, but I will post a little post up and let everybody know who we're facing this time.
All right, thank you
So-
very much.
Sounds very official.
It does.
Ooh. All right, let's go into Bull Roarer. Bull Roarer is, of course, our test server, and they're currently testing update 15.1. That's assuming that is Bull Roarer actually up yet because they've had some server issues this weekend.
I could not get on. I tried several times and couldn't get onto it.
Yeah, so there have been some troubles with the servers this week. Anyone who attempted to log in Friday night or Saturday morning would be familiar with the troubles that they were having, and hopefully everything's all nice and resolved. But they gave priority to the live servers, which means that Bulber might still be down as of. But the idea, though, is they had patch notes for round two, and anything exciting in round two, Ethros?
A couple of things. Mainly, it's to do with animation changes or fixes, I should say. The two main ones are firstly when you're riding mounts. Both horses and goats have this issue I've seen where the rider, whoever they are, and the mount will actually move out of sync. It's like when the mount moves up, the person's like moving somewhere in a different order, so it looks really weird.
Ouch, ouch.
Which has been a bug for I think at least 2 years, probably longer than that.
I think it's a lot longer than that. I think I've heard of it more than 2 years.
Yeah. So we'll see if that can get fixed. I haven't been able to get on board because it's still having issues, so I can't test that. But hopefully that works out. The other one is the stuttering issue, which is a lot more recent of a problem, although still fairly long time. I think it was sometime after Rohan, but before Helm's Deep. Somewhere around that time where if you sort of... Sometimes it's just when you're running, but other times it's when you're trying to run and change direction at the same time. Your character's animations are sort of stutter a bit, like you're trying to move too fast or something. It's very weird, but it's also very annoying. I don't know if anyone else has really noticed that as much, but yeah,
Yeah,
those
and
fixes are kind of
these
important.
things were definitely very annoying, and it's nice to see some fixes. And this is just kind of a guess, but I'm thinking that they were probably caused because they happened around the same time that they made a war steed change where your character had a little bit different facing view. And then it seems like in that same update that these two issues came up, and they're finally fixing them. And I'm glad that it's finally being fixed because these were so annoying, particularly on certain characters or races had it worse than others. So.
Elves, I find, have it quite bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There was also a couple of other changes. One is that bear pets for Lawmasters no longer make sounds or roars when they're out of combat, which is I can understand people were getting annoyed by it because of how noisy they were in like auction halls and stuff.
That's not the issue with Elros. Beornings were feeling inadequate.
I think for me though, the problem wasn't so much that they were making noises or that they were loud. It's that they were doing the roar animation every like couple of seconds if you weren't moving. I've noticed this because I've been like standing around and having my bear pet out, and he does it like a lot. What they should have done, I think, is just made the animation not loop as much, and that probably would have been a bigger deal.
Just
But yeah,
remember, the
that's-
noisy bears are actually men.
Right.
And the last change they made is that they actually relaxed naming restrictions for Beyondings, I believe, or it might be for all classes and races. I'm not sure. They don't really specify, but the Bjorn suffix, which is obviously quite popular, people can now use that apparently, which is, I mean, it's to be expected given who your family is as a Bjorning,
Yes.
but
Right.
Right. Like,
This
I don't
is-
know why they put such strict.
Especially since I think that was one of the suggested
stuff on it.
suffixes.
I
And
imagine
Exactly.
this
they
is
they had this set up at the, I don't know if it was like the last stage of beta or if it was even on launch day, but they actually had that suffix available to be used, and then they took it away at last minute, it seemed. So I don't know why they
Yeah,
did that.
I know some
but
people who made characters before their update 15 went live. Like they made characters just to reserve whatever name they wanted using the Bjorn prefix or suffix, and then when they deleted that character and went to make the Bjorning, they couldn't use the name even though it wasn't in use. It was just that now they couldn't.
yeah,
All right, then. All right, that's it for the changes, or did anyone else notice any changes that they'd like to mention?
it's a pretty small update, but the changes that they are making are really nice.
All right, then. Let's go into the store sales, then. Dracula, what's on sale this week?
Free sample of the week, Universal Solvent ×1. Use the coupon code BUILD6, build 6. Once again, one of those per account. And as for the sale, I call this week, at least it's not a legendary item sale. 30% off ingredient packs, crafting guild access, craft experience boost, rapid crafting boost, complete crafting tiers, and the recipe books. Yay, I guess. I don't know what else to say about it, but the ingredients packs, do not buy them. Just no, never, ever, for any reason. Don't at all. The rest of the stuff, I can kind of see, like, if you're a premium player or a pure free-to-play player, you are going to need the crafting guild access if you want to join your crafting guild. So that's okay. The experience boosters and the rapid crafting boosters, I guess I can see if you want to speed through that. Complete crafting tiers, if you really want to skip the grind, I guess. I don't think those are worth it. And that's kind of with the recipe books. I'm like, yeah, if you have the turbine points, go for it. You can get the recipes in the auction house. So I don't know what else to say.
All right.
Also, the December deals are back. As you know, they always do every week in December. They have deals. And this week, again, 50% off. Crap, I'm trying to be positive here. I really am. 30%.
You are.
It's hard to tell.
30% off promotion points. You get that is the times 10 pack of those, and 35% off the plus 5,000 enhanced reputation supply. And I do use the reputation supply enhancers quite often, especially when they're on sale. I do pick a few of them up because that does help that rep grind for that. And that's pretty much store sales.
All right, thank you very much. So let's go into the LOTRO Players site news, and we'll begin with a poll. And the poll is, do you want to see another LOTRO expansion? And the corollary to this, I guess, might be exactly what is an expansion?
Well, it includes things like Mirkwood and Isengard and things like that, I would say. But yeah, that is a good question. But I think that the main thing behind this was, a paid content update, much like we had been getting with Isengard, Rohan, and Helm's Deep. Um, anyway, 87% said yes, they do want to see another expansion. I think that this is one of the highest results we've ever had. Um, and actually kind of surprised me because I'm kind of 50-50 on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this kind of surprised me just how many people want to see an expansion. But I do understand it because it gets a marketing push into the game, and it makes it feel a little bit more special when that new
Gets a
content
better
comes out.
budget.
And in theory,
Yeah.
a better budget.
In theory, a better budget, yes.
You know what's interesting though is that when we were getting expansions, everybody compared every expansion that came out to Moria,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it never
That's
really
true.
measured up to the original expansion.
But would you say that 2014 without an expansion measured up to any of the previous expansions?
I was actually just thinking that. I was trying to recall in my mind what all we got this year. If you were to bundle it all up, how would that compare to one of the previous expansions?
I'd say it's less because we didn't have that side zone that was for free as well. It was basically like a side zone and half an expansion with a lot of things that were supposed to be promised that didn't get delivered.
To be fair, though, Lorien didn't really Lorien proper didn't come when Moria came out. It came out a few months later.
Right.
I think if you're going to compare them, it's what 200 odd quests for both West and Central Gondor put together.
Mhm.
You have one epic battle that is at the moment just solo duo. You have a new class, so it's not really a whole lot. But when you consider that, for one, it's much less expensive and
Yeah,
it's
they-
completely free for VIPs.
It didn't cost as much, right?
Yeah.
Right,
The
but
real question is whether the cost measures up to how much you got.
But is the fact of them, I mean, they got a lot less money this year, quite simply. Unless they had a huge amount of new players, they got a lot less money this year. And with an expansion, they would have been able to get more probably. And so maybe that would have been able to help them make a better game in the future. I don't know.
It's possible, but keep in mind, even when they were selling expansions, they would also give turbine points out with the expansions. And
Mhm.
this year, that didn't
And all
happen
the pre-order bonuses.
because it didn't work. It didn't work the same way. So we didn't. If you're spending turbine points or money on the content this year, you're not getting anything back for that. You're not getting the turbine points back. So
Lexicon from the chat did remind us about the 3-zone revamp that happened this year as well.
That's true. And there was that tiny little area for Isengard.
Mm-hmm.
jump in, Sarah. Jump in, Sarah.
Just talk over them. You got to do it.
I think that, like Cithra said, it really is kind of, and Brax, the perks that come along with the expansions that really draw people in, and the fact that previously the expansions did have, they had instances, they had those kind of cluster things that kind of helped draw old players back as well as maybe intrigue new players. And I think that that's kind of the struggle, I think, the old player base versus getting new players and how that works out, the economics. So I personally would love to see an expansion because I do love the perks. I love the cosmetics. I love, all of that comes with it. And, like Brack said, used to get some free TP and that was, super nice. So, yeah.
Well, I miss the
Here-
fanfare that goes along with an expansion too.
Yes.
We had a little bit of that with each little update, but we didn't have the big bang. Here's your expansion for the year.
And here's
Thank
what I
you.
really wish is that they had some kind of trailer or something like that. We have not gotten a single trailer this year, or even like a developer video that I can think of showing
We don't get
landscape.
dev diaries anymore either.
Yeah, and so that if they would have had the same marketing push for the Beorning as they did with, say, Isengard, think about how many new players that they would have brought into the game, and I'm almost certain they would have made their money back on the marketing and then some. But they didn't spend that marketing money. I don't know if that's because there wasn't an expansion or because they're just not spending marketing money on LOTRO as much anymore.
Yeah, I would love to see some more Dev Diaries come out. And they could do that for the smaller updates. They just
Yeah.
apparently don't have the time.
Well,
I
they
mean-
have traditionally have done them for the smaller updates. I think it's just a matter, A, either time, or B, that after Sapiens left, the ball got dropped somewhere.
Yeah, I
In
think
volume-
the
in
last
vol-
set of
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think the last set of like any dev diaries they've done was for the Zone revamps with update 13. I don't
Yeah.
think they've done any since.
In
Yeah, I
volume
don't think we got any
4,
for 14.
no, we haven't. In volume 4, have we gotten any videos, like cinematic videos?
Not that I know of
I'm
now.
wondering if they got rid of their video team because they haven't put any video marketing out. They haven't had any in-game cinematic video stuff. Where's the
They have
videos?
one. They have one for the Beyonding, I guess.
That's it though, isn't it?
But it's a bit of a missed opportunity. I mean, Gondor is like, it's so iconic. It's such a cool place. They've actually done a pretty good job with the quests and the storyline there. I was pretty pleased. So it's a bit confusing as to, it just seems like such a small, inexpensive thing, but they could totally have done to add a bit of fanfare to even a smaller update, not an expansion.
Yeah, especially when we get super iconic places like Dalameroth and Path
Yeah.
of the Dead. It'll be a real missed opportunity if they don't do any kind of video cutscene, anything for Minas
Path of
Tirith,
the
because it's
Dead.
Minas Tirith.
Oh,
I think this is the resource problem again. Is just they don't seem to have enough to actually toot their own horn, so to speak.
I mean,
They
at this
just- they
point,
have nothing.
I'd be willing to make them a trailer for free. I mean,
yeah.
something.
They could
Get
video
something out
content
there.
for fans to
You heard
put
it here, Turbine. Ending's volunteering.
Well,
They'll
Make
do
it
we'll
voice
more
see if
acting.
anyone there
Members.
listens to this show.
They don't have the resources to.
To listen to the show. Oh, I think
Wow.
you're right. That's right. The only person at Turbine I think that listens to any of our shows is Cordovan, and he listens to DDO Players News.
That's right.
I'll slip him a note.
Barnabas in the chat says they can't toot their own horn because the music system is messed up.
Broken.
Touche.
Okay. All right. Let's go into Tim's up story for this week. We have part 21 of the family line, where he heads into the land of the Dunlandings. And Andy, you're the one who has your opinion on it. Is it still going up?
It's still going up, Pine Leaf. It's still getting better and better each week. And this week, about halfway down the article, there is somehow he got this image of a Rohirrim, and the shot that he got makes it look like concept art, but I don't think that it's concept art. I think it is actually a screenshot from the game, and it looks amazing. The screenshots just keep being awesome. The story keeps getting better. If you're not reading this article yet, what are you doing?
All right. Then, now we're just talking about videos, how they're not making them anymore. So what is this LOTRO Videos Highlights time lapse?
What this is basically what they have done is they've gone through key places in Middle Earth and basically just set their character down in first person and watched the landscape and sky change over time. And it is amazing to see the sped up animation of just the clouds changing in LOTRO and how it affects the landscape, and it's just absolutely beautiful. There's some amazing shots in here, and it really took my breath away. I really love this video.
All right. Now, this week we have a returns of Where's Tinky, and this week she is visiting Dolven View. And we have on the main site, we have our 3 standard levels, easy, medium, and challenge, where you are trying to find her. And if you think that's too easy, then you could click on a link to Lily Kate's own website where she will have a special edition to challenge anyone who thinks that her things are too easy. And of course, we sometimes think that Tinky must be standing behind the camera on this, but Lily Kate insists that Tinky is in the shot. At least one pixel of her.
And it's not April Fool's, so it must be true.
Yes.
Now, Pineleaf, I heard that you might have had a little trouble this week on Where's Tinky?
Only on that special challenge mode where I don't believe that Tinky's really in the shot.
Ooh, called you out, Lily Kate. She says yes, it is in the chat. Are we gonna see a brawl between Pineleaf and Lily Kate live on the show? Man,
The
that'd
two
be
meanest
amazing.
people in the world.
Well, that's the. That was the same thing was true with the other one, where this was where she gives her answer to the black pools, where she says, in mid-block of the shot, there was a second wagon. Behind the wagon are two crates. If you zoom in and check between the shots, you will see a spot, a yellow foot between those crates. So in other words, there's going to be a pixel up there somewhere that represents Tinky.
She
But
called
where
it
that
Pine
pixel
Leaf mode.
is, I don't know.
That's funny. I can't find it. I'm looking at Pine Leaf mode right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking too.
All right. While they take out their magnifying glasses and look for that, we'll head on to LOTRO Players Adventures, Episode 40, The Pools of Etheros, and I could think that almost any episode could have been called that.
Yep.
With the rare exception where the instance or skirmish doesn't let me do it. But yeah, for the most
Right,
part.
yeah.
This week was particularly epic polls by Thelros.
Thank you.
Epic is a controversial word now.
So are
Fair
you
enough.
saying then that our
polls.
battles this week were not epic battles?
Thankfully.
Yeah, I'm gonna say thank God.
I don't know. Siege of Gondomar is pretty much an epic battle for me,
It's a skirmish.
without
Alright.
any of the good stuff.
No, it's semi-fun. Epic battles aren't fun at all, so.
They're not that bad.
Ah,
Ooh.
dissenting
Well,
view.
let's not.
Let's argue about this.
Forget the fight between Pineleaf and Lillicate. Let's get a fight between Sarah and Draculetta, man.
Fight with the guest, Drac. There you go.
Hooray, I'm not alone.
No, I understand, but like if you're doing them with someone and you get the shinies at the end, so I guess they're not that bad.
Yeah, they definitely are meant to be played with friends, I think.
Yeah. I can't swallow that. That's like, wanting to commit suicide, but when you do them, or even if you do them in a group, it's not so bad. Plus, the rewards are amazing. I've gotten like 4 first stage symbols, so
Yeah, I've heard they're dropping pretty frequently from those now.
yeah.
And the
And with the
raid.
new Stars of Merit system, it really kind of makes them a lot more bearable because at the end you can kind of pick and choose your rewards that are actually things that you need and want, and that kind of makes them a lot more bearable and reasonable.
And the raid version of the epic battle is especially fun. If you have not done a raid epic battle, I really do recommend it because it totally changes the way that it feels, and I wish that they had more raid epic battles because that's, I think, the way that they're meant to be played and definitely the way that they're most fun. So
It makes you feel a little bit panicky and like, oh my god, we're gonna die. It's really
Yeah.
great.
It is really hard when if
It
you're like
is.
even remotely unsure. It's just they punish you pretty hard if you fail even one.
hmm
All right, any more comments on this little controversy?
Sorry, Brad.
Drac, you want a final word or should we go on?
I'm good. Go on.
Okay. Then
They'll
let's
be
head
able to
into
talk
Brax-
next week.
Yeah.
Let's hit into Brax's pick of the week. What did you pick this week?
This week we look over to the Department of Strategery again, and they've got a nice little post up there. If you're not aware, each of the festivals has consumables that are also like emote type things, forced emotes. and they vary from putting bugs down and making other characters dance to summoning a dragon of fire. And you can barter for these forest emote type consumable items at the festival vendors. And if you do enough of them, it triggers a deed when you start to use them. If you do enough of them that you complete the deed, you gain the ability to do these forced emotes permanently without having to barter for the consumable items. And over at the Department of Strategery, there's a little guide showing each of the emotes. It's got kind of a little GIF picture of what they look like on there, and also how many. I believe it shows how many times you have to execute in order to. No, it doesn't have that. But what it does have is it tells you how much each of them costs at each different festival and which festival you can get them at. So, if you're interested in looking up some of these things, you can have what's called a perfect snowball, and you can throw a snowball at somebody any time of the year. All kinds of cool stuff, fun little things. Do them on your friends. Don't do them on strangers in Bree, please, because that's not always taken kindly to. But between friends, it's always fun.
All right, very well. So let's head into news beyond LOTRO's end. And this week, there was an announcement concerning the Lord of the Rings with a live orchestra being played in California. Andang.
Yes, a few months ago we actually posted about the live orchestra being in New York, and now it's on its way to California. And the people who are in charge of making this event actually notified us of the fact that it was coming around, and they even said that the fact that someone left a comment, or there were several people that left comments swaying it in the West Coast, that was actually kind of influenced their decision, which is amazing. So, comment on LOTRO players, and maybe an orchestra will come to your city. But,
Cool.
maybe not.
Well, maybe not.
But anyway, these events are happening in April 2015, starting on the 16th, and there are two cycles, one that goes from the 16th to the 18th in the evening, and another one that goes on the weekend on the April 18th and 19th in the afternoon and evening. So from everyone that has gone to this event that I know, I've only heard good things from it. Apparently, it is like nothing else to hear the live orchestra playing during the films, and I can only imagine how awesome this would be. So, if you're in the area, or even if you're not, and you're interested in going to this, I would recommend it. It sounds like a lot of fun.
All right, thank you. And that's all our news from Beyond Lotro. So let's head into donations. And we did not receive any Patreon donations this week, but we would love your support. And if you wish to help Lotro players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you will find rewards that include a mention on the podcast of your choice, or you could even be like Sarah and be on an episode of Lotro Players News or Adventures. So let's head into feedback. First, we'll begin with reviews, which there aren't any. So let's go into featured comments instead.
The show's perfect. You guys are whatever. Moving on.
All right. Lexicon left a comment on the in-house music announcement. So, Sithrith, could you please read this?
Sure. Lexicon says, I understand that budgets are very important, and obviously shrinking budgets cause things like music to get cut from a video game. However, it is sad. I hope Chance Thomas will come under consideration for future Middle-earth efforts, as he clearly desired to compose for Minas Tirith and Mordor. And trust me, many of us wanted him as well. I shall always enjoy his musical score, and Turbine's in-house music composer, while talented, does not either have the tools at their disposal or the talent to make something good enough for Middle-earth. Thank you, Chance. Keep pushing forward with your amazing abilities.
All right. And Brax, I heard a rumor that you have a score to give us on the Update 15.
Yeah, this is my way of skipping out on a 2-hour recording and just giving my score at the end. My comment was I probably would have given the update a B just on the strength of creating a level 1 to 100 new class and the solid implementation of that class alone. Having said that, I didn't find the new landscape all that interesting. Full disclosure, I'm not all the way through the quest line yet, so it could pick up here soon. And the transition to the dark central Gondor area too jarring. That was my comment.
That is a good point. The fact that West Gondor is all bright and shiny, and then the second you step into Central, it goes all dark and bleak. Especially considering you get a quest in the first town that takes you across that border like multiple times.
Yeah, it's
It
much
becomes
more
kind of a
obvious
joke.
going the other way, I think, because then all of a sudden it's like, my eyes, it's so bright over here.
Yeah. What they
Well,
probably should have done is at least have like maybe the first town be fine, or at least like a little darker, and then just gradually get darker the closer you get.
Yeah, they should have had
I don't
an
think they have the
in-between
tech
zone.
for that.
Well,
Yeah, I
you
think they
only
do though, because when you think about it, when you go into goblin camps or
Yeah.
like Ingmaroom camps and other zones, you
Get a
get
big shadow.
some increased. Yeah, you get a new shadow over everything. The clouds change, so they definitely have like
even
location-specific darkness abilities.
even if it was fairly back to back, so let's say they have like, every 20 feet or so they have an invisible wall that changes the lighting a little bit, and so it gets gradually darker fairly quick, but it's not instantaneous change to total opposite. It is very jarring, I think, especially considering how much of a role play type of game LOTRO is and how
The one
immersive
thing-
it tries to be.
The one thing that I always thought they did a really good job of transitioning areas was from when you're taking the ride up from Rivendell into the Misty Mountains. It's just a very, very gradual increase into the snow area, and it doesn't feel like all of a sudden there's a snowstorm,
Yeah.
And I just thought that was a really, really well done spot in the game. And then so I was kind of surprised that several years later we went into this area and it was like, boom, guess what? It's dark.
The other thing with with like the Central Gondor is the fact that the light is the same everywhere. It's like it doesn't change at all. Even in Angmar, you kind of have places where it's a little bit different, but I just found the sameness super oppressive on top of the fact that it's just super dark and dreary. So yeah.
Even Moria, where it's a completely underground zone, there's different lighting in different areas too. So they've used the tech before, they just didn't.
Well, all right. But the very first time you go into, though, they are complaining about it being so dark. So if they did anything, it would have had to been making it more gradual.
Yeah.
Because by the time you get to the first town,
I'm not sure how people are going to cope with this, considering pretty much every zone from here on out is going to have this.
Until we take down
until
Mordor.
after Pelennor Fields.
well, no, not until we take down Mordor. Actually, and the clouds start to break up during the Pelennor Fields.
That's true.
So,
But is that
Osgiliath,
just around the Pelennor
Osgiliath.
Fields area, or is that all across Gondor?
I think that's everywhere.
Well, I believe it's
after the
because
Battle
the
of
wind is
Gondor-
coming from the south, and that's what breaks it up. So therefore, actually, the wind is coming from the direction of Peligir, and in fact, that wind that's driving out the darkness is the same wind that brings Aragorn to Pelennor Fields on time.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, Osgiliath, when we go there, it's going to be there. Minas Tirith itself is going to have it, and anywhere else we go in between now and then is going to have it.
But how's
So
it,
what is
like,
it?
how are they going to change the lighting? So, like, after, let's say they decide to make the Battle of Gondor another epic battle, so, like, after you complete that, then does the sky clear up? Or is it
Guessing
perpetual?
I
Central
wonder-
Gondor will be,
I
Central
wonder if-
Gondor will probably be time locked,
Yeah.
like they've done with previous zones, where it'll always be in that stage.
Or it could be part of their phasing technology. I don't know if lighting is involved in that.
I don't think
They can change landscape.
Face that.
On the other hand, though, if you skip quests in Central Gondor, they're going to be talking about the sky, and it won't look like that to you, so it will be kind of jarring.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Good point.
They'll
I-
have some fun stuff to do.
I envision it's
here.
going to be something like a before and after Isengard area.
Yeah,
Something like
yeah.
that.
Or even the towns in Rohan. Like, you've got lots of places like a before and after kind of thing. So they definitely can do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very well. Now, Paz Duel left a comment on this week's poll. I miss the excitement of having an expansion this year, but I guess we're now running into story that is going to have them scratching their heads about how to do it at all. How do they do Pelennor Fields, The Last Battle, Cirith Ungol, and Mordor without resorting to lots of session play and epic battles? I hope they find a way.
Sounded like you put a little bit of your own self there, Pineleaf, into that.
Very
I was
dramatic.
just
Or a little bit
I
of
was just
drag.
trying to put through what I thought was his frustration.
There you go.
This week we did not receive any emails, but you can contact us by emailing us at podcast@lotroplayers.com. And you could also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotro Players at Lotro Players, Andang at PVMP_Andang, Braxwolf at Braxwolf, Sithrith at Sithrith, Draculetta at Draculetta_72, Ethelros at Ethelros, Lily Kate at Lily Kate Buggins, Mystery at Mystery XOX, and Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles. And you could follow us, our guests. Where can you follow us, our guests? Any place in particular?
I have a public Twitter handle at Lemurial. I haven't actually posted anything there, but probably going to be LOTRO stuff on there.
Awesome.
All right, then. So, our final thoughts then are the Players Alliance shows go live 3 times a week now at 8:30 p.m. server time. On Mondays at 8:30 p.m. server time, we have DDO Players News. On Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. server time, we have Guild Wars Players News. And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. server time, we have LOTRO Players News, and server time is United States Eastern Time. You could join us for our live shows at lotroplayers.com/live.
Remember
could
when you
also
could
join
do
us
that
on-
whole section in one breath, Pineleaf?
You can also join us on Landrevo for LOTRO Players Adventures each Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you for listening. And that's all for tonight. This is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.